Okay, for number 1, it looks like 73% of you all got that, so yay, that is very good. What are the values for A that satisfy this equation? So this is like a factoring problem, and it has been factored. And so if these two things are multiplied together and you get 0, then either A plus Y has to equal 0, or A plus Z has to equal 0. And if you finish solving this, then you see that A has to equal negative Y, or A can equal negative Z. So that means the right answer choice should be A. Okay, only 38% got this problem right. So let's make a note of that. That was 38%. So let's talk about what's in the problem that's important. You have 20 birds per acre. That's what you're starting at. So we have 20 birds for 1 acre. And then it was recorded that you had 47 birds. So we have this other proportion here, 47 birds for, and it's not 1 acre, but it's 3.325 acres. So we need to use this and see how many birds per acre that is. So I would divide that, and you're going to get 14.46153, and that's going to be birds per acre. So what we can do here now is we can tell the difference in this 20 birds and this 14.46. So to finish out the problem to see what that percent difference was to the nearest tenth, we're going to do some subtracting here. So we're going to say 20 minus 14.46153, and then I'm going to have to go back, and that's out of 20. That's going to give us our percent decreased. And so when we do that difference, we should come up with, let's see, 0.267 or 27692. And so that's going to give me answer choice B. Okay. For this next one, awesome, 92% got that. That is awesome, 92%, yay. The correct answer for this one was F. And for this, if you're talking about tangent, a quick way to find that, given sine and cosine, remember it's the numerator of sine over the numerator of cosine. So it's going to be 3 over 4. Good job for getting that. All right, number 4, back again to only 28% got this problem. Only 28%. So let's talk about this problem in itself. X squared plus RX plus 12. That looks like a factoring problem. So it looks like this is something that we can factor. Now when I factor it, they've given us a hint of what this should factor into. So if I had to factor x squared plus RX plus 12, and they've already said, well, part of that factors into x plus 3, and I need to figure out, well, what does the rest of it factor into? X plus what? Well, factoring wise, if we looked at our factors of 12 and we already know 3 is used, the other one has to be a 4. And so we're looking for what does that R value have to be? Well, a lot of people chose G, but G is what S has to be. To find what R has to be, you have to use your full. you have to pull this back out. So again, you get x squared, and then you get 4x, and then on the inside you get 3x, and then for your last term you get 12. And so when you combine these middle terms, you get 7x. So that tells me that r has to be 7. And that's going to be answer choice H. Right, now this problem, for number 5, 64% got that. That's a little bit low. It would be better if we had it in the upper 70s. And this is where you need to get like bases. So make sure you find those like bases. And then you've got to remember your exponent rules. Since we already have 3 raised to the 8x, 3 is going to be our base. 81 is 3 to the 4th. And I already have an exponent there, so exponent raised to another exponent, I need to multiply. And really, after I have this set up, I'm just going to focus on this equation here. 8x equals 4 times 3x, so 12x. And then 4 times negative 2, so minus 8. And then solving this equation, I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. And so I have negative 4x equals negative 8. So it looks like x is going to have to be positive 2. So my answer choice here is H. Right, now this one was the most missed problem, I think, between this one and number 4. Notice you're seeing what cannot be true. No matter what, this cannot be true. And a quick way to go through this, really use your answer choices. So I know that 0 is less than the product of P and R, and then that is also less than 1. So for F to be true, well, we can choose some values that are less than 0 for P and R because that means they're both negative, and a negative times a negative is a positive. And really, we could choose any negative fraction and that would still be true. And the same idea for G. With P being less than 1 and R less than 0, we could still choose some kind of fraction in there and still come up with a true answer. But if we look at H, both P and R have to be less than negative 1. Well, we know if we multiply a negative to a negative, we're going to get a positive. And no matter how close you choose to get to negative 1, even if you choose negative 1.001, for one of the values, P or R, it really doesn't matter, and then negative 1.01. No matter how close you can get there, their product is still going to be larger than 1, which is going to always produce a false case, no matter what values you choose inside those inequalities. So H was the correct answer there. Okay, for number 7, you need to see which ones must be true no matter what. So it's a good way to use your answer choices with these types of questions. And looking at the first option, measure of angle 2 plus measure of angle 7 plus measure of angle 12, they all have to be 180. Well, you have a triangle there, so yeah, I would agree with that. And notice what happens with our answer choices with this. That means answer choice B is gone and answer choice C. Now let's look at number 2. Well, with the second one, measure of angle 4 plus measure of angle 5 plus measure of angle 10. Well, if you look at this, notice angle 4 is a vertical angle to angle 2. So really, these two have the same measure. Plus, Here's vertical angles with 5 and 7, so those are going to have the same measure. And then measure of angle 12, and look at measure of angle 10. That's also a vertical angle. So these are really talking about the same value, so answer choice 2 has to also be true. Well, then that eliminates A, so we still have to check out 3 though. Measure of angle 3, and let's see, measure of angle 8. Now notice here 8 and 3, I think we're going to end up with something bigger than 180 and measure of angle 11. So I think these are already, this is going to be way too much, because here and here, it's really, we're going to end up generating way too much, bigger or more value than 180. So it can't be 3. So my answer here is D. Okay. And finally, this one. Carol has an empty container and puts 6 red chips. She now wants to put in enough white chips so that the probability of drawing a red chip from a random container, let's see, you get 3/8. Now for probability, remember it's what you want over your total amount. And so I want that probability to be 3/8. I want to figure out, well, what has to happen here? Well, I'm not adding any more red chips, and red chips are what I'm drawing. So I know there's a total of 6 red chips, and then there's already 6 in the bag, but I want to know how many more can I add to it. So it looks like I have a nice little proportion here, so I can cross multiply and divide. So I have 3 times 6 plus x is equal to 8 times 6, so 48. And then, let's see, we can distribute. We have 18 plus 3x equals 48. And solving this equation, I'm going to subtract 18, so 3x equals 30. And so it looks like x would be 10. So the correct answer here is J.